Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Collaborators Unite podcast. Chuck Anderson here, your host, and this is the show where we serve big impact experts. And that's you if you are on a mission to make a big positive impact in the lives of your clients, possibly even the community and the world, depending on the size of the impact that you want to make. And we know from conversations that we've had with you that the reason you do what you do is that you want to affect people in a positive way. And so whatever it is, the size of your mission, from time to time, there's things that get in our way. And we desire to make a bigger impact. And often we're looking at strategies and marketing and things like this. But today we're going to take a look on the inside. And if you consider yourself to be a high performer or aspire to be more of a high performer and making that bigger impact, our health and our energy play a big role in that. So today I have a friend of mine who specializes in this, who we're going to talk about. So today, Haleh Houshim is here with me today. And I'm so excited to have you, Haleh, because we've talked about this a few times now. And finally, I'm recording this and sharing you with my audience. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chuck. It's an honor to be in this time and energy and for you to have me here. So I'm grateful for that. Yes.
And I'm excited to share your energy with everyone because one of the things that I've noticed is every time we've talked, I mean, everyone has good days and bad days, but I don't think you've ever had one, especially not when we are on a Zoom call, because your energy is always very upbeat. And I know you host events and you do a lot of things in the marketing of your business, but your energy is there. And I know that we've talked about health and energy and how important it is. So we're going to dive deep into that. And I know you do a lot to make sure that you are the way you are. Let's start with a little bit about you, your story. What's your story and how did it come to be that you're doing this work that you're doing now?
Thank you so much. Yes. So I'm Haleh, and what I do, I'm a health span and cell resonance quantum coaching. What does that mean? Because a lot of people ask me, what does health span mean? Well, it's not lifespan. I can tell you that much. Health span is the number of quality adult living years in your life. It has to do with how your whole being is, it's body, mind, and spirit. I have a big passion and knowing down deep in my gut since I will say since age 7, but I'll get to that, how I got there. Wherever our energy is, that's how everything will get attracted to. So if you're feeling down, then the energy will be down. But if you're up and enjoying and doing what your passion is with that enthusiasm, actually the money and the revenue that you want will follow that. But you got to really feel it. You got to really feel that joy. And I always say there's no overwhelm in the moment. That moment does not recognize overwhelm. It's our thoughts. We go in the past or we go into the future and really not paying attention to the now. So if you choose now and be that joy and trust that everything else will follow. So that's a little bit a brief way of being in that high energy, that passion every day and doing what you love. And mine wasn't like that. I mean, I didn't do what I loved. I was in big billion-dollar corporation as an executive assistant, right hand to the directors. I was a paralegal, legal secretary. And I'll fast forward in 2011. I worked in the cancer center in a very well-known prestige hospital for 14 years. And guess what? One day, I couldn't even get up to go to work. I was in bed at home, bedridden for 3 months. And I'll say at home, bedridden, and not at the hospital because that was my choice. The medical field wanted to take me to the hospital. But guess what? I don't trust most doctors because I'll tell you why. I respect them. I'm not a doctor. Let me just make that note clear. I have a lot of doctors in my family and I worked with them. However, at that time, they told me I have Hashimoto's, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, and they were going to keep medicating me and labeling me. And they said if I pass the age of menopause, there's absolutely no way that I'll be without medication. Well, living proof standing in front of you, feeling high energy every day without any medication. I've never ever taken any medication because that was a choice I chose to do. And because of being mentored by the greatest minds, one of them was Louise Hay, personally by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and then high performers such as Brendon Burchard, Tony Robbins, a scientist actually that cured his stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I've been mentored by him. By knowing that, I was out of bed in 3 months. And I don't want anyone else to go through what I went through. My throat chakra was shut, and they labeled me with an autoimmune of Hashimoto's. That's just one of the labels, which I'll share with you. But with that Hashimoto's, you name it, I've done. Anything in the health industry, fasting, Ayurvedic, energy healing. But it wasn't that that healed me. It was my own frequency of accepting how I want my body to be treated. Do I want to get medicated or do I choose to go after all the stuff I have learned? And I don't want anyone else to go through what I did. I went through a lot. I even fell into depression. That high energy fell into depression. Yes. I was athletic, I was fit. And when this happened, I gained 20 pounds. All my muscles became flabby. I didn't have that energy, but it was up to me to switch that click from all the learnings I did. I took a little bit out of everyone's teaching and I did what worked for me because not everything, not even the holistic realm, works for everyone. Or frequency has a lot to do with it because nowhere in my genes, because I did the testing, it said that I have an autoimmune condition. But believe it or not, I created it. And I would say that we do create everything. We are the master creators of our universe. Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, I believe that, and considering some of the people that you were mentored by, I'm not surprised that you have adopted that belief as well because, I mean, take Louise Hay or Dr. Wayne Dyer, for example. I mean, they have been saying this to us for decades, not always easy to accept in the moment. But I think for those of us who have been following that journey long enough, you come to they say hindsight's 2020, and you look back and you go, "Oh, that's what they were talking about." And so
Right.
it really is true. And I say that for anyone who's listening in, it's not to oversimplify, but what we believe to be true has a big, big, big part in it. So I want to ask you, because I know you work with a lot of, business people and, high performers or people who want to be high performers. And I want to ask you, what are you hearing from them? What's the struggle? What are some of the challenges that they are saying? It's like, I really need help with this, but I don't even know sometimes what help I need. What are you hearing from them?
That's an awesome question because actually I named one of my talks, High Performers Don't Realize This, that your body is storing what your mind is suppressing. I say that because I was one of them. As a high performer, we just want to make that sales or get the job done, and we're just going and we're doing our own morning routines and we're doing our own thing, and everything is great. And we don't even realize it. And we get a cold, I'll pass. It's nothing. I get an ache. It's nothing. And some people will get a headache and will take Tylenol or Excedrin or Advil to suppress the pain. But guess what? I have seen that these show up in the body at a later time, but they'll say it is something else. It's old age or this and that. But it is all those little steps that we keep suppressing. We keep suppressing any emotion that comes up. The subconscious mind doesn't know. We don't know what we don't know, but and we keep like moving forward. Those emotions get stored in our cells, in our organs, in our body, and it shows up. And it's hard for people to really see the connection between the two. And I had the pleasure, and again, the blessing of Louise Hay and Dr. Wayne Dyer and Dr. Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza. A lot of people have been sharing this, and if you only pay attention to that, that our energy, our thoughts, stores, it manifests in our body. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Everything manifests, and so the clients have been. One person I actually met was during networking. So what happened was this person was saying, "Oh, I'm fine, everything's great," but then I would see this person's getting sick or getting a cold and say it's allergy season, and you know what that does? That stops the momentum. If you wanna get that sales and then you're off few days taking care of the cold, or it could be someone's loved one's birthdays or occasions you're missing. So by keeping up every day, being consistent is the key about your well being and taking care of that as a priority, is what I tell people. Because that cold is not normal. That allergy is not normal. It's your body speaking to you. And we just don't pay attention. We just keep going, keep going. And sometimes it's until it's too late. And then they say, oh, it's normal, it's old age now, but everyone goes through this. Or even for the woman, it's the menopause. "Oh, this is normal. Let's just get medicated or do something about it."
Yeah, and it's not something like what you're talking about right now is not something we hear a lot about every day. And, there's a shot for this and a pill for that. And, and also as high performers, we value our productivity and our uptime. And so downtime is something that we want to minimize and in some cases go out of our way to prevent because we just can't afford a day off. We can't afford, to be unproductive for long periods of time. And so what are you noticing with some of the people that you're working with? Are there any like very clear mistakes that they're making that are making, maybe taking their energy away or making this even more difficult on themselves than it needs to be?
Yes, I usually say that there are three things. It's either our environment, our thoughts, and our nutrition. So I sit down because each person is different. It depends on the environment they are, it depends on their stress level, on their thoughts, and their nutrition. And so everything is altered to the person itself. And let's say I had a client that he was saying, everything's fine, I'm good. And I realized when I sat down and talked to him, not even drinking water. Fruits have water, or, it's like the body needs hydration. Or another person had a hard time being grateful. And I have a 5-step morning action plan that they can implement like right away. And the one that makes mine a little bit different, everyone says a toothpaste. Well, yes, a toothpaste is also in there because all our teeth are connected to our organs. And I have realized even the natural toothpaste, it's better than the commercial one, but I found that through the mentors and the coaches, I got to learn because I was always digging deeper. I got to learn that not all of them are good either. So it really depends, as I said, to that individual, what is priority, and taking that one thing at a time. Are they having movement? Are they just sitting all day, in that morning routine? It is crucial in being consistent, even if you're out of town, even if it's a holiday, even if it's a birthday, you gotta be consistent to give yourself at least 20 minutes, like nothing exists but you. Some people have kids, they said they rush out, and you know what? Get up earlier. Just 20 minutes, I'm asking. I do an hour a day, and it's been decades right now because my body just can't without that. I just came back from being out of town, and guess what? Had my hour no matter what. So it is workable, but it's how serious are they? Do they have that burning desire that they wanna be that energetic, that enthusiastic all throughout their life, or they like the dips? It's all the choices.
Yeah, it is definitely all about choices. Again, I talk to high performers all day long and everybody wants that tactic, that edge, that strategy that is going to help them achieve more. How do we get more leads? How do we make more sales? How do we reach more people? How do we grow our company? All of these things. And we're often looking for that edge, we're looking for that strategy. But what you're talking about is how do we optimize ourselves? How do we optimize our own performance? I mean, what if more was available, not because you needed something different in your business plan, but you ate differently, you slept differently, right? Like you addressed health challenges differently. And is that kind of where you want people to look? And, if so, what should we be considering and looking at?
Yes, I always take it back to my experience because I get that feeling, and the feeling is so important to not get overwhelmed. For example, when they told me to detox, my body, my adrenal glands were already stressed out. And to tell me to detox or start moving, I couldn't even move. So the detox was really stressful for me. It didn't work. So I found ways that it would work. So I would say one thing at a time and looking at the person and seeing are they really stressed and they're not even realizing that they are? Are they crashing? Are they fatigued? Do they get pains, aches, headaches? Do they have aches, soreness in their body? So all of that shows a different part of a symptom that they may be having. I would start everyone, as I said, because that morning action plan, that 5 step is where to start to see where they're at, because it has the movement, it has the gratefulness, it has the journaling, it has the grounding, and it's connecting with your own self to see where you are. Because if you're not connecting with yourself, you can't go outward because everything starts within ourselves. Loving ourself is a big key, is a big key. And then when you're in that space, when you're loving yourself, accepting, the rest will flow. I always say that because everyone as a high performer, they're concerned about their income. But when you're in a great state and when you're in a joy and you're not in your thoughts constantly concerned, everything will move forward when you are in that joy. I always say that because I've seen too many people not realizing how they're in their head all the time, not in their thoughts. They're all about doing, doing, doing. And I have sat next to billionaires and millionaires at the end of their life. And one thing that they all say, don't skip your heart. What that means is listen to your heart, live the life you want, be in joy, because you're so much about doing the next thing and creating the next thing that you forget to live.
Yeah, and often look. I love that, first of all, and it's so easy to always be looking into the future. And this is what I love so much about, you were talking about gratitude, and gratitude is being content with today, right? And it's like, here's what I have today, and I'm grateful for it. Doesn't mean we can't aspire for more.
Right.
Don't aspire for more by sacrificing and what we have today, and not taking advantage of today, and
Yes.
because there is no guarantee of tomorrow, right? And so
Exactly.
I had my 55th birthday, you know, about last year.
Mm.
I'll be 56 coming up this year. And when I was 55, I reflected on all of the people that I knew that only made it to 56. There's a real, it's kinda like, well, if I only had 1 year left, is this what I would be doing?
Right? Like
Yeah.
that
And the
being said,
yeah,
yeah,
the answer was no to a lot of things.
right? It's so true. I always say people also had this come up a lot too. I only have this much years to live, and I just stop people when they say that because it's, you can't be concerned about the age. I always look at age, it's just an illusion. What do you feel? Because I've had 90-year-old feeling young, doing activities like their 20s. And then I had young ones that they were so fatigued and they couldn't even move. And The whole thing is know that age is only an illusion. It's what we give it and how we create it to be. Focus on the now and don't focus on anyone else's. Dr. Wayne Dyer once told me, which is an old saying from way back, what people think about me is none of my business.
Mm.
When you're so confident in yourself, doing what you love, and you just move forward, you'll be a magnet. You'll be surprised and you'll feel that energy, that focus, that clarity. And you just do you and keep moving forward. As of age, I could totally understand that people start this just came up right now, and I would love to share it because I've seen so many people. And this is what a lot of people don't realize it. They keep putting the injections in their faces and this Ozempic thing coming up. And because it's become so popular and it's a big passion of mine that they keep wanting to change the outside. They say, I'm in real estate, I gotta look good, or I'm in fashion, or I'm in business, I gotta look good, I gotta look young. So they keep doing injections and changing the way they look. But people aren't focusing. It's the inside that matters. That's what makes you attractive. That's what brings that light, that energy, that magnetic being of who you are and accepting yourself as you are. But are you?
Amazing. Before we run out of time, I do want to make sure that we do two things.
Yeah.
One is, can you give a little bit of an overview of what people could expect when they work with you? Like, what are you going to help them? What could they possibly accomplish more or different than they're accomplishing now? And then let's give them a way to connect with you so that they can take that first step.
Thank you so much. I would love to have a conversations, communicate, have a conversation. And I have a tagline. I say, how about a communication before that medication? But let's have a conversation anyway, because we're all different. We all have different fingerprints. So they're more than welcome to get on my calendar for the 30-minute consultation and get to know where they're at. What's their situation? What have they been doing, that's where the start would be. I would start on that.
And what would you tell them as why? Like, why now? Why would now be a good time to have this conversation?
Now is all we have. And the moment you start, as of now, you can have a clear focus. And a lot of people ask me, where do you get that energy? How are you always enthusiastic? Well, if you want to have that, it's nothing about me. It's in every one of us. You just have to tap into it. So to start to be clear, focused, and live a life. That's what I said. I'll go back at age 7. I always had the knowing that we can live up to 200 plus years in optimal well being. That was my knowing. That's what I thought everything is hidden from us. That was me since age 7. And where I would see people in pain, I would go to the park with my grandma and I would see that people are in pain. And I said, no, something's hidden. That cannot be. I did not want to see people in pain. And that carried in me. I had this knowing in my gut that we can live way beyond it is given to us and it's programmed in us. So I'll just leave it at that because I can go really deep about that conversation.
Well,
But thank
I
you.
think it's very well said, and if it's not obvious right now, it's like, look at this energy. Right? And if you are not feeling that energy, if you're not operating your business from that place, if you're not having conversations with your clients from that space, then I think there's an opportunity to go from here to here. Definitely. Because my mentor used to always say to me, the highest energy in the room wins. And so there we go. So, yeah, very easy to do. I love your offer to do the consultation. I think that now is a good time to have that conversation. And to make it easy for you all, I have put the link right beneath this video. So all you have to do is click the link. It's free. There's no reason to not to do it. So the link is right there. And if you're listening to this on an audio podcast, just open up your phone and the link is right there as well. Haleh, this is awesome. You are awesome. I love your energy. And so I think, this has been a really good conversation. And I hope that it has resonated with our audience and that they now have a way to connect with you and to learn how to have this kind of energy. And before we sign off, I'd like to ask you if you have any final piece of advice or words of wisdom that we can end this episode with.
Thank you so much again for this time and space, and thank you for listening to me. And I always say, remember to play and have joy in every breath of life. But one last thing, because my dad keeps coming back in my dreams, and I need to, it's one of my passions to move forward with his legacy that he crossed over on Mother's Day, May 2020. And I want to leave that behind because literally he wrote this book and not me. And that you are the universe, you are the master creator of your universe. And I want everyone to know that. Thank you.
Those are beautiful words to end this episode by. Hello, thank you. And to our audience, thank you as well. And if you're still here listening to my voice, this episode resonated with you. So I want to encourage you to take a next step, take action. Don't just get information, but use that information and decide what your next step is. If you do not know what your next step is, then I'm going to make it really obvious for you. And that is to click the link beneath the video and schedule your free consultation. That is going to be a next step. And look, you sometimes don't have to see the whole pathway in front of you. You just have to take the next step, and then the next step will be revealed to you at that time. And it's how I operate my business, it's how I operate my life, and it definitely works. And you don't get frozen in, should I, shouldn't I? Like, just go for it. Like, just go for it. And when you approach everything in your life with that energy, not just right now, but also, in your business and everything, when you approach things with urgency, things come to you with urgency. And so I want to leave you there with that. And I want you to remember that. You could just be one collaboration away from a big breakthrough that helps you make the bigger impact you want to make in your business. And perhaps this is that collaboration. So we've given you everything you need to do. Remember to keep moving forward, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you.